So hello everyone. Our brother mentioned, my name is Andrew. You guys prefer English or French? English?
Both.
Both?
Un
Okay.
petit peu. Did you see the way I spoke?
No, but this group is more
I don't
English.
speak Franglais like you though.
This group is more English.
More English, huh? Okay, good.
Sometimes it's exclusively French though.
Okay,
But
okay.
this group is English.
Okay, perfect. So I'll continue in English. So yeah, like I said, my name is Andrew. So I'm really happy to be here with you all, especially in this neighborhood because I actually have a history in this neighborhood. About almost 25 years ago, something happened in this neighborhood that greatly impacted my life. And I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was a murder that happened. This was in 1994. I don't know if you guys were even born back then, but I was only 3 years old. And the incident happened at the corner store at a dépanneur. And the dépanneur on Dominion and Quesnel. You guys know that dépanneur right there? Yeah. So if you see the name on that dépanneur, it says Choi. My last name is Cho, but it says Choi, but that's the same name that was there even back in 1994. And I don't know if you guys ever heard about that story, what happened at that dépanneur.
Maybe, how do they call that dépanneur even today?
Bob.
What's the name? Not the gruesome name there, but is there any other word? Just dépanneur Vinette? How is it called? Just dépanneur?
I met some guy in the street the other day.
They call it Dead Man's Store?
Yeah. He told me they call it Dead Man's Store because of that. Sorry, I didn't know.
What's happening?
But you know, it's definitely something that impacted my life. But because I was so young, you know, I was not like greatly impacted emotionally. You know, so when we talk about it, it doesn't really like hit me emotionally. But what I did see afterwards, what happened is that it affected my life in the sense that I grew up without a father, which caused a lot of negative consequences. Right. So for those of you who don't know the story, what happened was there was a group of kids. There were 12 to 16, about 7 of them that were involved. So the goal was to rob the store. So they came in with a sawed-off shotgun. 3 of them went inside. 4 of them waited outside, and the goal was to bring my father in the back, and then 2 people that were waiting outside would come in, take the money, take the tape, and then run. And then what happened was my father actually resisted, so they couldn't keep him in the back. So he resisted, and then they tried to force him to get the money out of the cash register. And then what happened was my father tried to escape. So he tried to run, and then he got shot in the back of the head, point blank range with a sawed-off shotgun. And so it's a very low percentage chance of survival, obviously. And yeah, so he died on the scene at that corner store. So it was a very tragic incident. You know, my mom was affected.
How old were you?
I was only 3 years old.
How many people went to jail?
So from what I know, 1 person got arrested, but because he was
Or the 7?
yeah, I think they were charged, but I don't know of anybody else getting time. But the person who pulled the trigger, he got 3 years of juvie and 2 years probation, and it's just because of the law, because they're juvenile, you know. So they couldn't be charged as adults.
Under 18.
So that's what happened, and it was a big incident that happened in this area. So if you even ask around, many people will know the story. It was even somewhat connected to Youth in Motion, because the reporters would come here and they would ask questions to the kids. So many of the people, the organizers, they're aware of the situation. And there were a few names that I saw in the newspaper that maybe you guys would know.
But you were talking about your mother. You're 3 years old, this happens, and your mom...
Yeah, so my mother, she had myself and my older brother, who was 4 years old at the time. And she was only married to him for 2 weeks. So it was very tragic for her, you know, and it affected her greatly. And then, you know, she had to sell the store. You know, we lost a lot of things due to the death of my father. And it was very difficult on my mom, and so she had to raise me and my brother. And what we did was we moved out of the neighborhood. We went to NDG, and back in the day, NDG was also known as a neighborhood that it was not so good. And
Prud'homme.
No damn good.
Yeah.
Exactly what it stands for.
Yes, no, that good.
Not fancy.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so because
The acronym, you know them well, right?
so because of this incident, it greatly impacted me because I grew up without a father, and I was very easily influenced by people. And for me, it was the people that was in the streets, so the people doing drugs, doing crimes, being violent. And I grew up with a lot of hatred in my heart. I grew up with a lot of bitterness in my heart. I became very rebellious. I started doing drugs at a young age, getting involved in petty crimes, things like that. And even getting arrested, even trying to steal cars, things like that. And thankfully, I didn't go too deep into that lifestyle. I was very close to even getting a weapon. I would say that when I grow up, I'm gonna murder those people, but now I no longer have that mindset, right? So I forgive them, so it's all good now. Because what happened to me, actually, I had an experience. So I had a personal experience with God, and if you guys don't know, I'm a Christian now, and that's really what changed me. My mom, she was a Christian already, so she would always force me to go to church, but I hated going to church because I was always rebellious. I was always doing my thing in the streets, and I didn't want anything to do with church. But one time I had an experience at a spiritual retreat that my mom sent me to, and that's when I believe that I had an encounter with God. I had an experience with God, and I really felt His presence, and I understood His love. I understood His forgiveness, because I was not a good person, and I knew I wasn't a good person, but when I understood the message of the gospel, that Jesus died for our sins and that He rose again, if anyone believes in Him, they could be forgiven, that's what brought me to my knees, and that's what made me just ask God to forgive me, and also it allowed me to also forgive others. So God completely transformed my life, and that's what happened to me. And so you could see the effects of the absence of my father, but thanks to God, God completely changed my heart. He changed my perspective. He made me a new person. He set me free. And today, by the grace of God, I'm a pastor. So God turned what meant for evil, He turned it into good. But what I wanted to talk about today is the effect of fatherlessness. So I don't know if anybody here grew up, if it's personal, you don't have to raise your hand, but is there anybody here that grew up in a one-parent household?
Well, for how long?
Well, just in general, one-parent household. So everyone, so more, okay.
Was
Yeah,
that
so
with your
more or
grandparents
less.
and going out to your mother's on weekends count?
Yeah, I mean, like let's say without a father figure kind of thing, like without a father figure, because I know that it's prevalent in certain neighborhoods. But if you guys have both parents, that's really a blessing, and that's something that you shouldn't take for granted. It's something that you should cherish, because not everybody has that experience to grow up with both their parents. So I would encourage you guys, to appreciate that, and appreciate the moment that you have with your parents, because life is temporary. Life is a vapor, and death is a reality, and we don't know when it comes. No one would have imagined that my father would have been murdered two blocks down the street, but things like that could happen. So you gotta take every day, live every day as if it's your last, in the sense that you appreciate your relationships, appreciate the love that you have with your parents, appreciate the love, your father, because not everybody, there's many fathers that are not willing to stay for their children, because many people don't understand the effects. And it's a huge effect. If you don't have a father, it greatly impacts your life. I could attest to this because I went through it. But even if you look at the statistics, fatherlessness is more of a predictor of someone going into crimes, more than race, more than your environment, more than other issues. Fatherlessness is the big issue that causes people to get in those type of lifestyles. And I'm just gonna get through a few statistics, because it's good to be aware of these things, because even if some of you have both your parents, you may know people around you that don't have their father. Maybe their father left, maybe their father passed, and you can see how that could affect their lives. So I'm just going to go through a few statistics, that way you guys could have more awareness about this, right? So in Canada, so these are Canadian statistics, 72% of all teenage murders are children that were fatherless, right? 60% of rapists were also fatherless. 70% of kids that are incarcerated, that go to prison, those are fatherless as well. And fatherless people are twice as likely to quit school, 11 times more likely to be violent. 3 out of 4 teens that commit suicide are fatherless. 80% of adolescents that are in psychiatric hospitals are fatherless. 90% of runaways are fatherless. So we cannot diminish the role of the father. It's important, the role of the father, and many people don't understand the importance of the father, because many people will say it's all up to the mother. The mother can handle her own, and there's this whole independent woman kind of mindset, which is not totally wrong, but we cannot diminish or undermine the role of a father that a father has in a family, right? Because many people don't understand this. More statistics: fatherless children, fatherless people are 8 times more likely to go to prison, 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 20 times more likely to have behavioral problems, 20 times more likely to become rapists, 32 times more likely to become runaways, 10 abuse chemical substance, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, and 10 times less likely to get A's in class. So you guys get the picture how it can have a huge effect. And if you guys have lived this situation, there is a solution. That's the good news. People that live this, you're not condemned to live like how the statistics tell us, right? Because we actually we could change our situation. Your circumstance does not determine your future, right? That's the good news, because there is always hope. For me, my solution was God. That was my first solution. God is my heavenly Father. Even though I had never had an earthly father, once I understood that God is my heavenly Father, He fulfilled that void, and He changed my heart. He made me a new person. He gave me the ability to forgive, ability to love. So that's number 1. Number 2 is role models. This right here is a huge blessing that you guys have. Having good role models. Because in certain neighborhoods, I know that this neighborhood back in the day was a lot worse. I don't know too much about it today, but even when I was in DG doing my thing, I would always hear stories about what we call Bergs, right? Little Burgundy. I would hear stories about this neighborhood where there was a lot of violence, a lot of crimes, and it was always known as the most how do you say, like hood or dangerous neighborhood, like
Lethal.
Yeah, lethal. That's a good word. Even us in DG, we understood that the Bergs is really where it's more things going on. So we gotta stay connected. Stay connected to Michael. You guys have wonderful mentors here, great influences. Because it's easy to get caught up in the streets. It's because when we're young, when we're teenagers, we get so easily influenced. Even the media doesn't help. The media that encourages violence, crimes, all these things, drugs, drug dealing, things like that. So you guys are super blessed to have this community, because it helps you to have good role models like Michael, like Bernie, like Willie, these guys. And you don't have to be a drug dealer, you don't have to be a criminal to be cool. You guys could make the difference, right? You guys could be different. We don't want to be like everybody else or follow the ways of this world. We want to do, we want to represent well our community. We want to represent well who we are as people. We want to represent success. We don't want to represent failure or going to prison or even dying. We know people pass away, because of these decisions, because they did not make the decision to choose the path of life, right? They chose death. Even the Bible tells us, "I've set before you life and death, and now it's up to you." Doesn't matter what your circumstance is, you could choose a positive life. You could choose a positive destiny. You could choose a positive career. You could make something of yourself. And it's important to understand this, and don't let the circumstances determine your destiny, right? You guys have your destiny in your own hands, right? Regardless of the circumstances. And also, you guys have the ability to help those around you, because you guys probably know people around you that are not so much in a good lifestyle, but it's because these people are influenced by their circumstances. They're influenced by the people around them. But you guys could be the positive influence of these people, and you guys can help these people, right? And and another thing that's really important that I did want to share today is forgiveness, right? Because forgiveness is something that has a lot of power, right? I know it's not something we talk about often, but many of us have had things done to us, right? I've had my father murdered by people, right? And I chose to forgive because I understand the power of forgiveness. And I understand that I myself am not a good person, all those things that those children did, they were kids, right? They were 12 to 16. I don't know what age, you guys are probably around that age, 12 to 16, 17. They were your age, so they were caught up in the lifestyle. And I understand, but you know what's crazy though? One of those kids, the person who pulled the trigger, right? He spoke to my mother a few weeks earlier, before he killed my father. He spoke to my mother a few weeks earlier, You know what the conversation was? He was complaining to my mom, and he was saying that I miss my father. And he was saying like how hard it is because his father wasn't around, you know? And so even him, he was affected by the fact that his father wasn't around, you know? And it's crazy because it's like the same thing that happened to me when my father wasn't around. Another thing that he shared with my mother is that he was sharing that he was having trouble in school, you know? And as we see in the statistics, fatherlessness causes that kind of thing. You know, he got expelled for marijuana possession, you know? And I also got in trouble for marijuana possession in my school. So it's crazy how I relate to them in a sense, you know, even though they murdered my father, I understand them, I relate to them, and the same way God forgave me for my sins, for my wrongdoing, you know, I choose to forgive them. Because when you hold grudges, the person it affects the most is yourself, right? It doesn't affect them when you hold grudges, you know. All of us have had things done to us, you know, like maybe your father hasn't been murdered, but you know, some people, they went through rape. Some people, they have been abandoned by their fathers. Some people that have been beaten. Some people, you know, get bullied. Things like that. Like all of us go through things. But we have to understand that if you hold unforgiveness, bitterness in your heart, it affects you more than anybody else. It doesn't affect anybody else but yourself. So you're only harming yourself. So we need to learn to choose to forgive. The Bible says, just as your Heavenly Father has forgiven you, you should forgive others. Right? So forgiveness is a powerful key that each and every one of us have to learn how to do, and the health benefits of forgiveness you could find in medical articles. Like I found in medical articles, the power of forgiveness is that you have healthier relationships, you have improved mental health, you have less anxiety, less stress and hostility, lower blood pressure, fewer symptoms of depression, stronger immune system, improved heart health, improved self-esteem. And the consequences of having unforgiveness is you also have negative effects, which include being angry, having anger and bitterness, bringing anger and bitterness into your relationships, becoming so wrapped up in the wrong that you can't enjoy the present, become depressed or anxious, feel that your life lacks meaning or purpose. You could be at odds with your spiritual beliefs. Like for myself, I had no choice but to forgive, because if I don't forgive, my Heavenly Father cannot forgive me. So it could even be at odds with your spiritual beliefs. You lose valuable and enriching connectedness with others. So we need to choose to forgive. I can't emphasize it enough. It's very, very important. And how do we do this? Number one, the way I did it is I prayed to God. I asked God to help me to forgive. I asked God to change my heart. I asked God to, and I understood, you know, the reality that I'm not better than those people that murdered my father. I'm not any better than them, because I could have been me easily. You know, I could have done the exact same thing, and I have done things against others that, you know, could be just as bad. You know, so yeah, pray. And if not, if maybe you're going through something, maybe something personal. You know, some people go through physical abuse. Some people go through rape, molestation. Sometimes it's things that it's hard for us to talk about. But I would encourage you guys to first talk to God, but also talk to your leaders. You know, talk to Michael, talk to Bernie, talk to William, talk to your role models. You know, that's why these people are here for you. You know, everybody wants to play hard, but I know that in reality, many of us we go through things in secret, but we don't. We're too scared or too prideful to kind of be vulnerable with people, you know. So talk to someone, you know, whatever you're going through, talk to someone, you know, forgive and pray, you know. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share.
Questions?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, I'll start. I'm burning with that question from before. But before you cite up, basically you surrender to God. Yeah. If I may say, which is a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned. Like what incident or what, obviously there was that very key incident that you spoke that triggered for you to become worse before becoming better. But what person, you spoke briefly of your mother, what made you change course to find God? Well, can you touch on that a bit, please?
Yeah, well, for me, like...
Because you were going down the kind of funny way. Yeah. And what happened what made you see, was it a dream? Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
Yeah, So I believe.
Because they were young. They were young.
I might have
know
known
her name,
but I forgot.
I won't mention. Okay.
No, man, did you know, okay, I'll rephrase my thing. I'm asking, it happened 29 years ago or so.
1994.
Yeah, the debonair down.
I was 2.
I remember, because I used to live down on Coursol, so it's, like they say, I would know more, but then again, you know.
Because the statute of limitation, he doesn't want to say nothing.
But were you ever angry at certain people, young people or black people or whatever? Was there any of that?
I'm in DG.
Yeah, exactly. All my friends were actually black. Yeah.
No, you've answered. I just wanted to ask.
So yeah, thank God, I never had that problem.
A lot of like, but Asian descent, they're always friends with black kids in DG. We all play ball with each other. True. But I'm in a because they run really fast, bro. So you just like lob it and they jet, bro. They do nice layups, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's me. That's how
Exactly. You know what it is, bro.
We don't put that two in the park.
But I have a question for you. If you would meet one of those guys today, how would you feel?
Man, I would honestly love to meet them, and I would just share the love of God, and I would just tell them that I forgive them and share them my message, because I understand them, I relate to them, and I hope one day that God will give me that opportunity.
Wow, you're in the right place. She's got a grease Michael and to bring you to the thing. Cause I didn't know who, but now you're talking about. This might be closer than I know. Like,
I know and I don't, but for sure I remember.
I wish I know.
I remember of the incident.
I came in '97, but I know I was called a dead man son.
I never heard of that, bro.
Yeah,
I was living in GG. I came in '97. Remember? So Mom used to live
but yeah, I wanna know who did that.
Sit down. He was probably like young.
Michael's
Did you write your name?
Yeah, he was.
Michael's gonna have to tell the beans. I'm like, all 7 of them should have went to jail.
I mean, I'm assuming it was an adult that sent them, because no 12, 16-year-old has a shotgun, that goes into a store to shoot somebody. So I'm assuming it was an adult.
Back then, no. Nowadays, I'd question that.
Just ask Michael.
Nowadays, I'd question that.
Michael used to live in Berks, but no, I think you're totally right in the way that someone facilitated for them to do that. That is over 18. Made them do the dirty job. But anyway, that's not the real focus of the. We're not gonna. I mean, I think it's very honest of you to want to meet them one day, and maybe, like you say, maybe life will make it happen, and that they also. I just hope that they'll be also ready to meet you.
Yeah.
Because there's that preparation that needs to go on. You said that one actually. He spoke to your mother when I guess it was in court or something. He was
No. He was a regular at the store, and he would come in.
Before.
Yeah, before it was maybe a few weeks before, or like a month before, something.
And he was sharing how much he was having trouble in school and all those.
Yeah. So
they didn't think really a bad turn, and I do agree with Jonathan that. Maybe some of them were just followers that didn't even know, because sometimes you go into those things, hey guys, this is for you. You don't, that's not even what you want to do. The intention is not even to see someone dead, but it just escalates.
No, it's like if you hang with 2 hoes, you're going to be the 3rd hoe. So like, if your friends are committing trouble, you're going to be the next one.
No, just to be a part of the gang.
No, but exactly.
Just to be
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes you're part of it. But I don't remember, but there's something you had said that I felt was, no, I don't, it just slipped my mind. But anyway, thank you, Dominic, for sharing. Julio, do you have something? Maybe a comment or something. First of all, it's very to give us your testimonial like this takes a lot of humility, courage. Yes. So really, we'll applaud you in a minute. But I want the kids to react a little more. They're capable of that.
Barris right here.
There must be some questions. There must be some questions as to. Well, you heard the whole story, yeah, pretty much.
What church you go to? That's what I want to know. Are you Seventh-day Adventist or Anglican?
I'm Christian. I'm Christian. Bible believing Christian. Yeah.
You have his own church.
You have your own church?
Yeah, I'm a pastor. Yeah.
Where's that?
NDG.
Where?
At my house.
Where? Walkley.
No, not Walkley. It's Upper Lachine and Wilson.
Okay, that's nice, bro. That's not bad.
Yeah, you guys are always welcome to
On
come.
the
You
sheet.
have a lot of
Maybe you should leave some,
Or about
leave
25.
some
Oxford, basketball, Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford, Oxford, right next to
laisse-nous
Oxford.
des cartes ou quelque chose pour après, pour les jeunes.
So these are all members of your church?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. They all
Okay,
come to my
every
church.
Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday.
So they're dedicated to changing
You know,
the life.
Brother Jimmy that used to own a church down there, he passed away in
Nah.
Oxford.
Nah,
He used to have a big church down there for years, still.
okay, no, I don't know.
He's Christian man too. Man.
Okay.
That's in his house, okay.
He passed away. A lot of people are looking for a new parish, bro. You should
Promote.
Yeah, man. Or even try and buy his old church. It's right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know
How would you,
Because some pastors only fly private, eh?
Oh, yeah.
It's up to you. You want to fly private or you want to be in the back with us?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna talk about that on camera.
You went to school here, or you went to like the past school in like Alabama and all that stuff?
Nah, I didn't do it. I did study theology, but it was in Concordia University. Yeah.
So you know Ron? You know Ron Marshall?
Nah.
He studied too. He's a pastor in Calgary, but you guys are in the same age.
Oh, okay.
That's who helped me when I was
Okay.
getting in trouble. Yeah, I know from church too. So.
Nothing
Yeah,
changed.
nice.
Huh?
Nothing changed.
Yeah, things change, bro. I got in trouble like that, man.
He was working at the church too.
Okay.
He was a lifeguard in the shower.
No. No. I used to work at like camps, like Bible study camps,
Okay.
church services. One time I almost got nominated to be a deacon, but I'm too young.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things. It depends.
That's good, man.
Stuff like that. I used to like do offerings, help, stuff like that.
Okay.
It depends.
Maybe you'll be a pastor one day too.
No,
Altar boy?
no, not a pastor. I don't mind helping the church. I don't feel like I should be passing the message like that. I'm good at recruiting people. I'm good at helping people. I'm good at like passing on and somebody else taking over.
You don't
But I don't want to be the one to force people to choose. And
Jonathan,
Yeah.
you come here, you spread your gospel every day.
Amen.
You spread your gospel every day. Remember Minister Seymour in them.
not like that, but like, I don't know. It's different. I wouldn't
Don't steal. All these things
Okay,
you
let's
preach.
Youth, let's go back to the youth.
He preaches too.
Let's go back to
Don't
the
let
youth.
people in your
Bernie,
house.
Bernie, let's go back to the youth. Let's go. Guys, d'autres réactions, des commentaires of this story?
Bro,
Obviously
you gotta
not
say
you, because
something, bro.
you came at the end. Any
Michael.
questions?
Force him to say something.
I'm not gonna force him, I just, you know, like if there's something that comes up,
It's
don't be
interactive.
shy, because we're very, I'll say it again, it's our first workshop, our second workshop for the year. Usually we have these, exactly what we're living here every week.
No, it's our first one since COVID. We had
Yes,
Non,
the
non,
break.
non, on a eu un groupe là. We had one group that came
the
in.
two girls.
the two
Two
girls.
The
girls.
one girl that was spoke French, and the other one were talking.
We had,
about-
anyway, it's very, it doesn't hardly happen. But we usually, the setting of exactly this is what we live every Tuesday.
Okay.
It's been a tradition that's been interrupted, through the COVID.
Right.
And COVID, well, we still had through the COVID. It's since January.
I think they came
it's been
three
really
times.
flat. Yeah, it's
man,
true.
we should
Because
try
we
to
have
have
usually
4-part
McGill,
series, whatever.
law students and so on, different, My Vision McGill. So all these groups, they're not even, whoever goes to McGill, is there anyone that goes to McGill here? You would know you're not allowed to do even your stage in the field.
Okay, right.
So we're very, we only have the program on Thursday in the studio actually, that someone comes in. So I really wanted the youth to participate, puis poser des questions, de dire qu'est-ce que vous pensez est-ce que toi tu as compris ce qu'il a dit? Qu'est-ce que tu as compris? Il a perdu son père à quel âge?
À 3 ans.
3 ans, très bien. Puis là, sa mère, qu'est-ce qu'elle a fait?
Le forçait à aller
À l'église. Puis ils ont déménagé aussi du quartier. Il a combien de frères? Un. Mais il a bien écouté.
Yeah.
Plus jeune, plus âgé.
Il est jeune, il est plus vieux d'un an.
Oui, il a bien écouté là.
Yeah.
Il a bien écouté là. C'est bon. Mais t'as aucune question à poser, rien? C'est clair pour toi? So my thing really to you is that it takes a lot of guts to come here, but I'd like to know what are your future plans, because you have a few members. Youth Emotion is known. I told a lot of my partners in the community that you were coming here, because right now we're just looking at the summer, we're looking at the park, we're looking at a lot of things that can happen in the
Yeah,
park.
do you do day camps and stuff?
And
I haven't done that yet, but I'm open to it, you know.
And my question to you is what's your future plan for the church? Or because we've worked with the church, but also I'd like to hear from you. What are your intentions? What would you like to do? Because I'm part of so many committees in Little Burgundy. I also work with other children elsewhere, and I see these kids all summer. I'll be employing some youth in the park this summer, and so on and so forth. So I really would like to start something maybe with you and all of yous. I know that Charlene is already hired at Club Énergie. Coming up, oui. Tu vas joindre le Club Énergie. Yeah, Willy!
Who's that club over there?
Pour sa fille, quand je dis ça. No, Charlene, she's gonna be, I've interviewed her, and she's gonna be part of Club Energy this summer, because you know I have to run the program, so even there might be, the minute we can do more things.
My cousin and them are coming too, the breakdancing.
Well, that would be great.
He's coming, he's 7. That's something.
Great, fantastic. And so even there'll be partnerships, so I don't know. So 2 requests. First of all, let's present the rest of the people from the church. And what would you like to see beside meeting maybe 1 or 2 of the guys that did that? We know that. But I mean, with Little Burgundy, with the youth, with the park, because everything's going to be, they're here today. We're really happy, but a lot of things will be happening in that park right there. So, qu'est-ce que tu rêves? What's your thing?
Well, I believe, you know, that we could definitely help out any way we can. You know, we're willing. You know, I have a heart for this neighborhood. I want to be here for this neighborhood, and in whatever way I can help.
You came to the right place, like someone said. Meaning, we like to open the door at Intermotion. So continue. So you're open to.
Definitely.
So, because I'm doing the méchoui for the population. Je fais méchoui halal à l'agneau, lamb, because that's pretty much the only, you know, some don't eat beef, some don't eat pork. So the lamb kind of makes it special, and many, you know, and so we do that for the Fête Nationale with couscous and all of that. So that's most likely coming. I'll be needing volunteers for that day. It's a huge service. Well, we hope, depending on how much people do show up. I usually do it in the park, but nevertheless, I'll be doing it on the boardwalk. I think I had hinted that to you. There's also a big event at the end of the summer it's a traditional Little Burgundy Festival in September. Also, where you could either have a kiosk of the church, literally, and give information, and you know, volunteer depending on what they let us do. Because we have inflatables, face painting, ceci, cela, ceci, cela. So that's for the events, but on a daily basis, many of these kids you'll find them on the court playing, and some in the studio. Some won't give up their studio. You don't know that. So you're welcome. Also, maybe today. I don't think you did. You visit last time?
The studio, yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So there's that. You want to use the studio, I've also opened that door for you if you need to do a promo, you want to do a track. I mean, that would be something we could do, could be an exchange of service around those lines, eh? Bernie? Something like that. Je sais pas, peut-être, so, peut-être présenter les membres de ton église.
So start with it.